So Jorge Masvidal comes out and says that he either wants a title fight or he wants to fight Conor McGregor. Says that he wants to break his face and that that's an easy paycheck. And as you would expect, this sets off a lot of conversation online. And I think that would be a fight that would be against potentially the two biggest names in the sport at this exact moment. I'm not saying that will last. I got some criticism for saying that I believe that Jorge Masvidal might be the biggest name right now, popularity-wise, in the sport of MMA. Like I said, I'm not saying that's going to last, but at this exact moment, I think there's a lot of attention. I think his name's on fire, and I think that the UFC would be wise to strike while the iron's hot. And it's to be assumed that his name would be so popular at this moment. Whatever it is with his persona, whatever that is, whatever he's found that he's locked into that's connecting and resonating with people, he's found that. And it doesn't also hurt that he's going to young prospects' home countries and flatlining them in their hometown and then coming back and knocking out undefeated former champions in other organizations in 5 seconds. So he's really on a good run right now. His name's at an all-time high. So a fight with Conor would be absolutely epic, especially around like the November time frame. The problem is it's very unlikely that that's going to happen. If Conor's going to take a big risk on his return fight, it's probably going to be down at 155 pounds, and it's probably going to be something that's going to get him lined up to rematch Khabib. Probably Tony Ferguson. If he's going to take a big, risky fight, he'll probably fight Tony and try to get through that to get the rematch with Khabib. Masvidal does have some other options, though. I mean, keep in mind that the Nate Diaz and Anthony Pettis fight is coming up in August, and when we look at Nate Diaz, I think that that'd be a high-profile fight against another high-profile name. Nate's a very tall, long, good boxer. He's got really good jiu-jitsu. That'd be an interesting fight. The Diaz brothers notoriously are really good with heavy-handed, head-hunting strikers. And Anthony Pettis is Ben Askren's teammate, and Pettis and Masvidal just did a grappling match together. So there's some storyline there, and Pettis is a striker. And I think that they match up really well. And he's on a good streak, knocking out Wonder Boy. And if he gets through Nate Diaz, you know, that'd be a good match to make, would be with Masvidal, if Masvidal doesn't get the title fight. But just to throw a little curveball here, speaking of Nate Diaz, there's another thing that just popped in my mind. I don't know if people remember it, but less than 2 years ago, I'd say, there were some rumors that, and it never came to be, Jorge Masvidal versus Nick Diaz. That was just a little less than 2 years ago. That was rumored that that fight was going to happen. And can you imagine how big of a fight that would be if Nick were to return, which is not probable. It's highly unlikely. But if he were to return, fight a top 5 guy in the division that he could probably beat, it'd be definitely a lot of attention on that fight. Just something to throw out there. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just something to think about.